I'd like to talk about something serious that I've been thinking about lately. Something I've been observing for years. Something I've been analyzing and studying, reflecting on. And I'd like to share some of my thoughts about it. Something I'd like you to consider. In particular, specifically for this video, I'm referring to and thinking about pride and ego, and the dangers that can come with having an excessive amount, like an excessive amount of pride or an excessively large ego. I think that from what I've seen, from what I've observed and studied and confirmed, when like pride and egos can have their place, right? But when they are taken too far or taken too extreme, we can lose touch with our realism, with our humanity, and we can forget that we are only human and that we make mistakes. That we are not infallible, we are not flawless, we are not gods or goddesses. We must. It is important for all of us, for humans, to be respectful of one another whenever possible, as much as possible. It is important for us to treat others, to do our best to treat others the way we would like to be treated, to have mutual consideration and respect for one another, and to not forget our place in the world and the universe and in the theology for those who believe in God or gods. We must not forget that we are only people, we are only humans. Unfortunately, from what I've seen and heard and what I've observed and studied and confirmed, there are a number of people who forget humility, who forget to be humble, who have so much pride and such large egos, excessively large and undeserved, that they will respond violently, vengefully, and in an uncivilized manner, in some cases to even the smallest amount of criticism or ridicule or calling out on something, but in lesser extremes, they will lose their temper really quickly, really badly. Like they will escalate things if they are ridiculed and criticized and all that. I think that well, see, the problem is that when a person's pride or ego leads to causing someone else bodily harm, physical harm, breaking the law, that's a bad thing. That's when it gets to be a problem. That's when you know that it's too much, when it's too extreme, taken too far, at an unhealthy level. That is somebody who has lost their way. That is somebody who's potentially unstable. It's like whenever anyone who assaults somebody or gets physical or violent with someone, like just for a little ridicule or criticism, or just because they don't like what somebody says, I mean that is a sign. Those are signs of weakness insecurity, an ego that's too big, too much pride, disregarding the law, disregarding common mutual courtesy, respect, civility, humility. That's like, there's just so many things wrong with that. That just, people have said so much shit to me over the years. They've called me so many names and talked so much trash. And said horrible things to me. Things that would put people like I'm talking about into a violent rage. Where they would just, if what people, some of the things that people have said to me or about me or implied about me, if you said that, if they were said or implied to these people with huge egos, and too much pride, that person, the person with the pride and ego, would put that person in the hospital or kill them even. What's okay about that? How is that all right? How is that acceptable or even tolerable? How is that moral? Really? It's just, see what I mean? But I'm not kidding either. I'm not exaggerating. From my experiences, from my personal experiences, there are people, there's human garbage in this city that would gladly have no problem killing someone just for something that they've said. Breaking the law just because of what they've said. Even though it's here in America, that is their First Amendment constitutional right. How is that okay? How is that all right? How is that acceptable or tolerable? How is that healthy or normal? Now, for me, right, to help you get to understand me and get to know me a little bit better, I have never, I can honestly say, right, I cannot recall a single circumstance. I was double checking there. Never. And I've taken all kinds of verbal abuse over the years, right? I really have. And the saddest thing is I'm not even the biggest victim, right? There are people out there that get it even worse. Try to wrap your head around that. Try to wrap your mind around that one. But people have said some awful shit to me and about me and implied awful things about me. But I can honestly tell you, I can honestly say, I have genuinely, sincerely never touched anybody as a result of that. I have never thought about getting physically violent with someone just for what they say to me. Right? I've never done it. I'm not gonna do that for those reasons. It's just I've learned to just blow most of it off, to pay no attention to it. It's not that I'm too big to listen, it's that I'm too big to pay attention to it. I might have borrowed a quote from Dr. Dre, but that's the truth. I am comfortable in my own skin, I am secure, I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm wise, I'm disciplined, I'm controlled. My ego and my pride are well in check. I have never forgotten that I am only human. I am content and honest and open about making mistakes. I make mistakes. I'm not a god. I am not perfect. I am flawless. I am not flawless. I screw up. I say things I shouldn't say. I occasionally do things I shouldn't do. Small scale things, mostly. At least compared to most people. A blip on the radar. But I never, ever put my hands on anyone because of what they say to me, because of the names they call me, or the deliberate insults and slander, or false accusations, or implications, or insinuations. I blow it off. And to the point of the story, like to the main point of the vlog here, it's because I am not egotistical. I am not too proud. I am humble, in many ways. I am in touch with my faults and flaws, and I accept them. I work on myself as best I can to correct them, to not make them again, to learn from them, to adapt, to evolve, to improve. I don't need anyone praising me. I don't need anyone treating me or looking at me or thinking of me as some kind of god, or that I'm some kind of super being or somehow superior or any of that shit. I know myself inside and out. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to admit that I make mistakes, that I screw up, I fuck up. Sometimes I annoy people, sometimes I piss people off. I'm only human. I'm doing my best. I am always, constantly working on myself, double-checking myself, making sure that I don't become like that, Simply put, right, because of what I've experienced, because of my conscience, right, which is pretty healthy, because of my discipline and control, and most importantly, because I know how it feels, right? And I know the law, and I respect the law, and I live by my own standards. I do my best to practice what I preach, right? I don't touch anyone for what they say because of what they say to me. I never attack anyone physically. I play defense only, right? I know how it feels to be punched. I know how it feels to be assaulted, and it doesn't feel good. I do not wish to inflict that on anyone else. I am better than that. I'm a better person than that. Stronger than that. Braver than that. More of a man because of that. A real man doesn't use violence to solve his problems. A real man doesn't forget that he's not a god, that he's not superior. A real man isn't afraid to admit when they're wrong. Isn't afraid to apologize sincerely and mean it. Isn't afraid to take responsibility for his mistakes and fix them. A real man doesn't give a damn about being, what people will thinking lesser of him, or that it's a sign of alleged weakness for admitting that he's wrong or sorry. Just wanted to share my thoughts and feelings with you on that, help you get to know me a little bit better. Sorry for the air quotes, but if you could only, I'm trying to help you understand what a joke being macho is, being machismo, how out of date, how out of touch, antiquated, primitive, barbaric those views of masculinity are. It's time for improvement. It's time for a change. It's time for something better. I know I can be that much better. I can be a better person. I've been training myself hard, learning from others' mistakes, sins, and crimes to make sure that I don't become like them. What about you? Can you be a better person? Are you strong enough to just blow off a lot of the trash that people will say to you? Are you strong enough, smart enough, brave enough to just not pay attention to it, to let it go? Are you humble enough to do so? Simply put, I don't have that right. I don't have a right, legally or morally, to physically harm another person just because of what they say to me. I don't have that right. And neither do you. Think about that. So all of you out there, anyone out there who has a big ego or too much pride, too much ego, you think about what I'm saying. Violence does not solve anything. I am not afraid to admit that the last time I hurt somebody physically, I was just a little kid in a fight with a karate student. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like what that did to me. I learned from it, improved from that, and I haven't been in a fight since. I play defense only. My days of going on offense like that are over. And I'm proud to say that. I'm proud to admit that. But not excessively proud. It's not okay to hit somebody. It is not okay to hurt someone physically, especially just because they said something you don't like. It is not okay. It is not acceptable or tolerable or legal. Roll all that around in your head for a while. Think about what I've said. Hopefully this will help someone make some small difference, positive difference in the world. That is the point of this video, after all. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you got to know me a little bit better. Hope you like what you've heard and seen, because I practice everything I've said in this video. Just think about what I've said. Thank you to all my supporters. Thank you for any likes that are left on this video. Thank you for all my subscribers. Stay tuned for more content like this and other vlogs on morality.